Welcome to this candidate interview for the 2020 GSA elections. The GSA is the primary representative body for postgraduate students at the University of York and is run by students for students. Joining me for this interview is Amier, who is running for the position of Vice President Wellbeing and Community. Amier, would you like to introduce yourself and say a little bit about why you're running?
Oh yeah, my name is Amier Stephen Kiriko. I'm fondly called AI. Like he's already said, I'm vying for the position of Vice President, Wellbeing and Community, and the basic motive for which I thought it was a good time to just run is because I feel like it's a great opportunity to help graduate students like me, here at York that are struggling to have a mental balance, with their academics and their social life here on campus.
Thank you. Now, you mentioned some of the issues that you're running on there, and you've got more in your manifesto. So what do you think is the biggest well-being issue facing postgraduate students at York, and how do you intend to combat it?
I would say the biggest issue right now, especially from experience, would be the issue of isolation and mental health issues. It's an open secret that University of York, as a university, although it's a very conducive place for learning, it can be really boring and quiet sometimes. And then if students are not exposed to, human resources and even other extracurricular stuff that can, make their attention a bit more balanced with the schoolwork, the problem of isolation will definitely be one that, will allow for them not even focus with their academics properly. And sometimes these issues even get as far as making students depressed. I had school earlier on in London, and coming from a busy city and getting into a city like York, I needed to adjust. And the adjusting was not any better because I thought I didn't get the appropriate resources that I would like to get. So I thought, like, instead of complaining or being in a position where you feel like, oh, things could be better, I just seized the opportunity to effect the change, the much needed change that I could do.
Thank you. So building on the question and point about isolation, how do you intend to help foster a sense of community for postgraduate students, and especially for postgraduate research students?
The research work that we do can be really tasking. Sometimes it's so daunting that you even forget about yourself. And in some other cases, I would say that the previous executive officers of the GSA have really done well. But I think from information that I gathered, sometimes the problem is information dissemination. There's no proper dissemination of information. So students are resorting to get to know about social programs only, by email, and sometimes most of these emails are ignored. So I just want a situation where there's a better synergy in communication, that students can actually have like a more closely knitted union amongst ourselves. So I would really say that the use of social media can really be helpful. Some social media platforms as personal as WhatsApp, getting a WhatsApp group that allows both departmental reps and students alike to just relate with each other, and information getting on platforms like that disseminates faster. So even if I was going to create a social programs, there has to be the issue of communication dissemination has to be fixed. If not, our government will come and it will be the same old thing of people not getting still involved. So I would say it's fixing the communication gap that exists currently, and just having those kind of groups that just allow students to be more knitted together and get information as soon as they can.
Thank you. Now, one of the areas in which the GSA is active and which falls under the portfolio of wellbeing and community, it's sport. So how would you improve sporting provision for postgraduate students?
I basically, if I'm a lover of sport myself. I play football sometimes. I'm not so much a fanatic, but yeah, I love the idea of playing football and just winding off with that. I would say that I think that there are other people like me that are even more professional, not professional in the sense, but they have more than a passing interest in things like this. So if I was made a VP Wellbeing, I'll definitely co-opt some of these people into a team that I will spearhead so that they can actually foster these programs just by, because of the passion they have. It will be easier to, coordinate fellow students and just get involved. So it's not, I feel like for this to work, it has to be like a concerted effort by everyone. So yeah, basically just leading a team amongst us, where a team of people that have similar interest, in engaging in this kind of activities, people that have more than a passing interest in this, and see how we can get people involved, compel people to create time to just wind off when they can. And I feel like the basic thing is that if there's like a connection, a relationship, if there's a relationship in existence, it's easier to get these people involved. And even if it requires any form of finances, it's easier to just get that done when there's an existing relationship. So the first thing that I would do is to create a relationship, especially with people that are already thinking in the same line that I am thinking, in terms of having time to wind off with sporting activities like football and other games that other people may be of interest to other people.
Thank you. Do you think there's a risk that if these activities are led by people who are very experienced in their sports and possibly quite competitive, that it could put off students who are wanting to engage at a more casual level and just use it for exercise and for fun?
And that's why, for me, I said I will need to, lead the team. Even if the reason why I would want to lead the team is to, give like a guide and a caution to how far that they can go with getting to do this, because of course the main purpose for which people are here in school is studies. If that is not prioritized, then there's a problem. And it's easier for people, like you said, that are very passionate and a bit of professionals in this field to be carried away. But if the team is being led by officials like me, there will be like a good ground for regulating the kind of activities and how much of it they do per time. So yeah.
Thank you. The GSA has a very diverse membership, and a key constituent part of that is mature students. How do you intend to build a community for mature students, including those who've retired from full-time work, to pursue education?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because I'm actually in my place of worship. I lead a youth team that liaises with older, adults and all of that. So I have an idea of what it feels like to be leading people that are somewhat your parents or way older than you are. I would say that with mature students generally, the chances of them being distracted, it's easier than it is for regular students, because the reality is that they are into is much different. They are juggling with trying to function as a student and as well as rather, they are basically trying to build capacity with themselves through education. and then still faced with the responsibilities and realities that comes with, you know, their current status. So I think that because they are easily distracted, they would need more attention. So beyond co-opting them into the general graduate students forum, I'm looking to have a situation where these mature students will also have like a forum for themselves, you know, where they can come relate like minds and encourage each other definitely. Because I feel like so when that is done, then even when they come out to integrate with the rest of the students, you find that they'll feel a bit more comfortable, you know. And for me personally, I honor people that are way older. So seeing that you have people like that that are trying to, you know, push themselves academically, I think the best that they need is encouragement, and as much as possible, just I would push them, you know, through the forum that I would create, push them to do better and try to complete their courses, because it's easier to find most of those students at some point giving up easily than the younger students would. So yeah, I'll definitely create a forum separate from the regular forum, but then they will still have time to, you know, integrate and socialize with the rest of the graduate students.
Thank you. On to another issue now. How would you work with the university to improve provision for food on campus?
Yeah, that's another good question, because to be honest, I am an international student, as you can see. I would say that I also struggled with the food outlets here on campus. Struggled a lot, and I feel like a lot more can be done in terms of the food available for students here on campus. Some of us.
When you say you struggle with them, do you mean the range of food they offer, the opening times and the access to them, the price of the food that's on offer?
For me, if I'm being honest, it's not even the timing. I think it's basically the range of food available, because I tried some. Yeah, and as much as I want to like have like some sort of diversity of culture and new way of life, which includes definitely the kinds of food that I'm introduced to here. But you know, sometimes you also want to have like a good blend of what you're already used to, you know. So that makes me sometimes travel really far to get food, you know. And it's one of the reasons why I would say it's one of the reasons why I opted out of school accommodation. So I really think that that can be done. And one way that it can be done, it's not something that takes just the VP well-being to put in place. It will require so many stakeholders. You know, I think that even cities neighboring to us like Leeds, you know, have like a vast range of varieties when it comes to food outlets and accessibility to the kind of food that different students would like. And we can, it's definitely doable. You know, if I become vice president, I'll source for, you know, food outlets that are willing to expand their services to York City, you know, especially on our campus, and see how we can expand the range that we currently have, definitely.
Thanks. What would you do to address the lack of postgraduate accommodation on campus?
So before I came to York, I was still back home when I saw the comments. I was going through the comment section, and I saw that the ratings were a bit low when it comes to accommodation availability and all that. And then I mean on campus though. And then even with the off-camp accommodation, there's like a legit struggle to get on board with something something that you really want, that is tailored just to fit to you. So I would say that I think that the university can join forces with available online accommodation search platforms, where they can have like an understanding with some of these accommodation. I think some of them might be already there, but I don't think it's enough because most times students are in position where they come. I also face that, by the way. You're using like about a month or thereabouts to just get really settled, and it's because I feel like if the range of accommodation that the school partners with that they want to make available for students is bigger than it is already, then students would not need to go through that, because the problem is that the ones that are available online, most times students do not, it's not the best option for students. So if the university have proper understanding with these landlords or houses or accommodations, outlets, they will put it to a certain standard, awaiting when students get hold of them, and as well as fixing other things that will make students even more interested in the campus accommodation that is currently being talked about. I think that I would direct the attention of the executive to the online complaints that are ongoing. I don't think that they're paying attention to that, because from back home when I was looking for accommodation, I saw lots of comments that were not encouraging for students to just easily or readily, identify with these accommodations that are provided for them, especially international students.
Okay, thank you. Talking of international students, what would you do to encourage international students to integrate with home students?
I always say that when you go to any university, whether you're an international student or not, it's very important that you let the university pass through you as much as you go through the university. And one of those ways is to open yourself to proper integration. There's a reason why international students have left their countries. We have left our countries to, other countries to study, beyond the high standard education. We also want a certain level of exposure and experience, or a multicultural experience, and that is what these universities offer. So students that come down to schools in say in the Western world and try to confine themselves to fellow country students, I would say it's a disservice to themselves, because they paid a lot to be here. So for me, I'm looking to create social programs, definitely, programs that will allow for different students from different walks of life, to have contact with each other, basically keep contact with each other and just be in contact. And some of those programs I'm looking at, deliberately having to mix both local and international students together in terms of seating arrangements, so that they are somewhat encouraged, to have like a conversation with the student next to them, or even have like times when you just let people just hang around within the forum or within the session to just communicate and relate with each other. And I think that would be the way forward, because I remember when I just first came, it took me like 11 whole days before I saw a Black person. And I was just really, for me, it wasn't a problem, because I easily integrated. Most of the people that I talked to were whites, and I've had my master's degree here as well, so I'm kind of already used to the system. But what about international students that just come in and are not used to properly integrating themselves into systems like this? We'll need forums that will encourage those kind of things, and that's what I'm looking at doing.
Thank you. Now, if I can turn to some of the things that you have addressed in your manifesto. You list visibility as a key issue, and in addition to the social media points that you made at the beginning, what else would you do to ensure that the GSA as an organization and you as an officer are visible in the student community and easy to engage with?
Well, I was trying to be all inclusive, having in mind that students are students, whether they are, they have any temporal disabilities or any, even with situations where they have different social orientations and backgrounds. So I'm sorry, can I get the question again so I don't miss what exactly you
Yeah,
want?
sure. You talk about visibility in your manifesto, and you covered points about social media engagement at the beginning. But what else would you do to ensure and increase the visibility of the GSA and you as an officer within the student community?
Well, that's mainly like my vision to be. So apart from the social media platforms that I said I was going to create, I also would want to encourage like a situation where even through these social media platforms, graduate students that have like personal issues that pertains to their mental health here on campus can always have like access to it. Some of them have these issues and they are not able to share it because of trust, the ability to trust even the person that is spearheading, their comfort here on campus. So I think that one of the things that I was hoping to do is to like create like a box somewhere, I don't know exactly where students can just drop in things that they need to be addressed that they cannot easily share. So at intervals, I go back to those boxes, pick them up, check them through, and see how I can address it. If so, in that instance, we allow the student to, wherever the student wants us to address it generally, it's fine. If not, if the student also wants us to reach out to him or the people involved, sometimes students are being talked down because of probably their social orientation or sexual orientation and stuff like that, but they still not have like the confidence to even approach anyone about this. But I think boxes like that is a good way to just source out these things and address these issues if they wouldn't want to come forward. So that's one of the things I was looking at.
Another thing that you mentioned is that you want to highlight the multicultural diversity of York. How would you do this?
Yeah, I mentioned definitely in my manifesto that I'm looking to organize programs like International Day events and societies fair. These are programs that will allow students to come. It will be like a planned program. It may not be every now and then, but a few times we'll do it. It will be such that students will be looking forward to it. Students will come display cultures. I, for one, really fall, like I said earlier on, I feel like there were no Black students here at York, legitimately for so, because it took me 11 days to see a Black guy on campus. But thank God I had students from other cultural backgrounds. They were really friendly. York is a really friendly place so far, when it comes to academic relationships that I've had with other students. I give it to my fellow students. But I feel like beyond that, we need to identify with ourselves. There are some students that are just being for some reason, shine into the thin air on campus. You can hardly see them. Social programs like that can readily, bring us together, show that we have students who also, like I talked about, exposure and what all of which university environment can bring. You get to hear about people's culture, a part of people's culture that is not readily available to you, even on internet, or may not even make sense to you, but then you get to learn from these people. So it would be like an international day fair or societies fair where you just get to meet different people from different societies, talk about what the things that they have interest in means to them, and see why they behave the way they behave, so that integration and your association with these students can be more appreciated and easily done.
Thank you. We've got a couple of minutes left. So one more question from me, and then I'll give you the chance to add anything you wish to in conclusion. So In one sentence, why should people vote for you?
Basically, I am not new to leadership positions, whether within the school environment or outside the school environment. I'm very approachable, I'm very confident, very sociable, and I'm very much of a servant leader when it comes to how that I serve in places where I have opportunities to do so. So yeah, I think that a vote for me will help to bring a new idea of innovation of what well-being here on campus would look like, and people will get to see that there is diversity in there is unity in diversity, and I'm sure that there is, because I'm new to University of York, by the way, and I see that there are lots of old officials coming back, which I appreciate. But I also think that we need like new ideas, innovative from different walks of life and different experiences that will help to make the system even more attractive and fun-filled for students to want to be here and enjoy their stay at York. So yeah.
Thank you. Slightly more than one sentence, but I'll take it. Right. You've just about got a minute left. So is there anything else you wish to add to explain to students what you stand for, why you want the role, and why they should vote for you?
I stand for social justice. I understand what it means to have an imbalanced education as a result of not being socially sound in your mind. So I also had issues, as a new student, that I needed to confront myself. And I think that it's not something that you can do alone. So I want to work with every student alike, mature students, young graduate students, every student alike, to bring better innovation into the Graduate Students Association, and just have a system where we can work together in a more unified manner that will bring us closer and just make it worth our while here while we are still here on campus. Thank you.
Amie, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.